Ah. Hello, hello, hello. I just had a fancy filter and I wanted to use it here for the live, and it's on. Hey, Marcus. I believe it's been a while. Welcome. It actually has been a while. So happy week. We are what? Thursday, January 13th, if I'm correct. And I actually just realized that we are about 1 week away from entering Aquarius season. So for those of you who are fellow Aquariuses and the sun sign, happy birthday soon to be. And also, I would also like to dedicate this message for a gratitude for Capricorn season, and as well as the energies that are here supporting us today, this week, and who have been for a while. For those of you who are new, my name is Stephanie, and I go by Divine Cosmos. High Priestess is my archetype that I resonate highly with. And I love to give inspirational messages, guidance that I receive in my day-to-day, and work with others to help give them that sense of clarity when we tend to lose ourselves in the mundane 3D life, right? And so this message today is actually coming in just most recently. And a couple of transits, just to kind of highlight the story for this energy this week, is I started getting some signs of today's Thursday, which Thursday is ruled by the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is about expansion, abundance, right? Prosperity, as well as judgment, right? And fair judgment. And I automatically, about a week or two ago, my energy has been kind of tired. And that usually happens right before I hit my cycle. And right when I'm at my cycle is when my energy starts to amplify, and I want to do more active practice movement energetically wise. And so I made a video yesterday, a small little clip from a practice, and the words stood out. It's let's get weird here today. Let's just shake it loose and start getting deep into that area and aspect of ourselves where the best way I could describe it is you dive into this pool, right? And you're allowing yourself to enjoy these pleasures that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to fully embrace and taste and experience every level of sensation of it. And so this is where, we're brought here today, where I'm like, okay, this energy started picking up a little bit more, and I started feeling, it's like, oh yeah, Aquarius season is next week, and Aquarius is that sign supported by, they say, Uranus, right? The get out of the norm box. Right after spending some time in a lot of grounded energy, especially with this Capricorn, which it's this moment where I actually was learning that Capricorn, and whatever resonates with you, let it just seep into your soul and just use it as it comes through. So Capricorn is actually ruled by Saturn, and Saturn tends to have this really regime sort of structure when we initially think about it. But I was listening to an astrologer, and he opened the box a little bit, and he said Capricorn has this, people really resonate and tie it to hardworking, and they're just very strict. But he said there's more to that. Capricorn is a feminine energy that, because working along with Saturn, not is it, just strict working towards goals, but she's very passionate. it's not that they are without emotion and sensation and sensing that area of pleasure. It's that they feel deeply. So much so that it's kind of hard for them to express that. Whether it's hard or, it's just when you have so much emotion within you welling up inside, is there enough words that I can properly use to articulate? And that kind of brings me up to this week where I started receiving sort of signs, and everyone's in their own growth journey. But maybe something to consider and just maybe bring into your perspective and your whole experience of life is, especially with these transits with Mars squaring Neptune, it's a moment of where we might be feeling innocent and vulnerable. And I also, right before I tuned in right now, I just asked to give any words of guidance through the symbology of the oracle cards. And this is the Lord Ganesha deck that I love, Whispers of Lord Ganesha. And so in this card, you might be feeling, again, vulnerable, like especially with approaching this full moon next week in Cancer, emotions deeply in the depths of the well of your own soul. It might be a moment where we are reflecting, allowing ourselves to kind of tune in within. But at the same time, there might be this sort of like this sense of protection, like a struggle. And that was the second card. When we feel vulnerable, when we feel a lot of emotions that we probably don't yet have the logical sense to explain what's going on, then this is probably a part of our journey where we have to kind of feel it. We have to allow ourselves surrendering into what's coming up for us, knowing that we are protected, right? Not only are we trying to protect ourselves from like a physical perspective standpoint, right? Whenever the body feels, or in nature, an animal feels threatened, they want to protect themselves with, from or within the environment. But this also card symbolizes that when we go through these moments, when the emotions are arising or things are building up or something's going on, you are, again, it's a moment in your journey that's necessary to go through so that in time we'll be able to come out with clarity. And I thought that was really beautiful because I saw something this week too where they said use your pain to transform it into a creative energy, because it's only in those moments of the dark shadows, right? The dark night of the soul. It's only in those moments where I might not know where I'm going, but I feel a sense of pull that we need to reflect on and allow ourselves, when we do, to have enough space, to have enough time to look at what the white lotus flower, what the light is shining through, what guidance, what clarity, what lesson your higher self is opening up the space for you. And you know all the answers. We all do. We just have to go through multiple layers of awareness, stepping back from the physical standpoint into the deeper layers of the mind to reach that higher perspective, the observer, your higher self, to give you that sense of clarity of why I'm going through this right now, or what the past couple of months have been for me, or the past couple of years. And so when you're in this moment, the best word of advice that I kept getting was allow yourself to surrender. Because when you surrender, it makes it easier. You're no longer resisting the direction and the pull and where your life is being led. Or even what the lesson's coming up for, right? And what we can begin to do, another word of guidance, I think, is determination. Even as I'm looking at this card right here with Lord Ganesha, determination, he has his hands, his gaze, internal focus down at his root chakra, that place of safety. The color is red. Especially when it comes to this current week and when things are coming up, if you can take moments throughout the day, really preferably throughout the day, so that you can ground yourself, so that you can get back into those practices that make you feel supported, that make you feel safe, that make you and that help you to create space around you in your four walls, wherever that may be, whether it be the room or the car, to breathe, to be right here, right now, so I'm not overwhelmed, right? So that I can ground myself, so I can let the body feel safe as I know my higher self and my intuition knows everything, and let that wisdom seep into the cells of my physical plane, right? And another thing that came through as advice: what are the things that you like to celebrate? So I'm always, I'm not an astrologer and I have not studied formally like astrology. I just follow where guidance shows, which typically tends to be the days. Right now, the moon, full moon and new moon. And so I kind of gauge on where the energies are speaking through for direction. And they said, celebrate the days, celebrate the things that make you excited, right? So I think, when it goes back to the new year, I said something about whether or not you celebrate New Year at, January 1st, right? Or you celebrate it in springtime, March 21st. Whatever things that light you up, that help you to get back into that place of safety and protection for you, that into your inner root of that saved child, so that you can come out, maybe tapping in again, transforming the deep feelings that you're experiencing into, lighter energy and creativity. Go into those things. Celebrate those things. Allow yourself to play and rest in there and in those moments. And the fourth card that I pulled out was actually the card, beautiful, Harmony. And so this card, you can actually see a lot of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flowers. I have to emphasize it because they're just standing out. A lot of flowers blossoming all around in the background. Here also you have now Lord Ganesha moves from the root chakra. And because I'm looking at my card, I'm initially thinking, to myself, sacral chakra, which is desire, passion. But I'm also looking at the color. So then solar plexus is yellow. It's that place of the will, your inner fire, that part of you that is able to get into this energy once you allow yourself to feel safe, to express yourself, to tap into those depths of you that some people might consider, another word I'll say later, that aspect of you where maybe someone who's outside of your four walls would say, oh, that is unconventional. That is weird. Or, maybe sometimes these things that you either enjoy, you have a secret pleasure or an interest in that you don't really necessarily share a lot about, right? And so the term would be black sheep, right? You kind of feel like you don't have a place to fit in and express that. Well, that is the place that we're actually encouraged to have a little bit more balance and harmony to our lives by allowing ourselves to yeah, rest. Those are the things that you're being called to, right? Those are the things that possibly help to fill your cup up, right? So to speak. So that the reason why I kept talking about the flowers is because when you go back to the first card, you can also look at the symbology of how Lord Ganesha was only looking at one. He was only focusing on what was in front of him, what he needed to preserve, to give and nurture to this one flower. And in due time, as you follow your guidance, you'll come out from the root to the sacral to the solar plexus, not only having been fully recovered, replenished, but also, again, fully supported, knowing the fact that whatever you needed to go through right now had to come, so that you can see the light, so that you can see the fruition. This goes back to springtime, that what you needed to go through karmically was part of the journey for your next level of growth, for your next level ascension. And you could just take that however it resonates for you. And just looking at overall, I believe that this message came forth just as a word of guidance. One more note is that when we go back into that place that we were recommended to, go into the spaces that you celebrate, that make you feel you, right? I help you to release things, to process things internally, because that's where the real work is done. Another person that I like to tune into, who gives good clarity for me in terms of what's going on, he mentioned that just like we have 12 signs, right, for the zodiac, we have all the planets. There's so many ways. Example, say you're Sun Aquarius, or you have a friend who's Sun Capricorn, born in Capricorn season, right? The totality of who you are, the full completeness, is not just resonant in just that sign. You are actually, all the signs are in you, everything, because we are a one, of course, from the universal perspective. What if you worked with each season? What if you worked with everything in terms of what resonated for you, all these things in your toolbox, all these things that interest you, and kind of articulated it in the sense of like, okay, Capricorn season, in terms of Capricorn energy, how can I express my version of me through that? So when Aquarius season comes around, how can I allow myself to further dive into those areas of unique creativity, weirdness, and express myself through that lens, right? If that makes sense. And I thought that terminology, that example really hit, because when you are feeling low, especially with those of us who experience that trauma, right, that come up, addictions or lessons you thought you've already went through and uncovered, when those moments come up, the reason why we go back to those moments of, pleasure, self-pleasure for ourselves, to feel that place of safety, is to remind ourselves that this is not the fullness of me. I can tap into the energy of Capricorn season, knowing that, yes, they are passionate, deeply feeling the all levels of sensations that come through in terms of like a deep artist, a passionate artist. Because like I said, when those moments come up, think of yourself as, because you are the creator, an artist of your own life, your own story. Perfect examples, I believe that one particular astrologer, and I'll link them down below, he said Jared Leto. You think of Marilyn Manson, right? These are artists that he used the word melancholy, right? They have to dive into those deeper aspects of self to bring out art and beauty. And again, in those moments, tap into the energy that you want to tap into. If you're feeling tired or you're feeling like, oh, especially with like Capricorn Saturn, bored, you're feeling restraint, shifts the focus to another aspect, which you can look at, Aquarius, thinking outside of the box. What will help me to push through as these things are working within me? I called it slow burning. Like if you are in the yoga classes that I lead live, where we practice together, this week I said slow burn. Or yesterday's IG video, slow burn. Where can you allow yourself to feel more deeply? So much so, it's not so hot that you're like lit on fire and you're ready to jump out of the hot box, but the fire is building up, and I'm allowing myself, like I can handle it. I can handle the heat. And in time, the things I need to burn away, or I keep thinking about, like, when you cook, like, a piece of meat, right? And it's really, really good, soft, you did it just right, and the meat just pulls off from the bone. And that's the sort of symbology that kept coming up. It's allow yourself to get into those spaces, to feel, and when you surrender, it'll just pull off the bone. It'll just fall off the bone. And I'm just taking a moment to sit still. That was really the word of the guidance. And I think my question for you guys is, if anything resonated, feel free to comment, feel free to DM me, and let me know, do you guys prefer video sometimes? I know it's been a while, but I was praying, I was like, okay, I want to jump on live, miss kind of being here, and yeah, photo, video. And just realize that whenever I post, I'm always sharing a message just from, like my mentor says, from a different perspective. So whether sometimes, you know, the pictures in a card or a symbol, right, resonate with you for your mind to go to another deeper layer, to receive the message of guidance, to help expand your awareness, that's the perspective that I like to approach it from. And also through yoga, expression, movement, music, I find that all those things help you to go from the logical mind, which is at the top of the iceberg, all the way down to the deeper layers of your soul to help bring out any clarity for you. And so thank you so much for being here, whether you were here with me live or watching the recording. I pray that you have a beautiful, blessed rest of the week. Enjoy it. Rest. Allow yourself to, if you find that your day maybe gets high intense, you're overwhelmed, find little breaks. Find little moments to, again, settle back down. Catch your breath. And thank you. I appreciate you for being here. Have a blessed day. Sat Nam.